My name is Charlie McGrath. I'm the founder of WideAwakeNews.com and a host on the Rinse Radio Network. Today, the mainstream media is fixated on the fact that Michael Jackson's doctor has been found guilty of manslaughter. If it's not that, then it's the latest little bit of drama having to do with Lindsay Lohan or some other pop culture icon or some other gladiator game that you're supposed to be enthralled with, while the complete and utter banker takeover of this planet continues on course. As a matter of fact, it's becoming even more outrageous and more egregious with every passing day. Now, I'm going to talk about Europe, and I'm going to explain why that's important to you here in the United States. You know, we had just a few days ago, George Papandreou, the Prime Minister of Greece, told the world he was going to let his people vote. He was going to have a referendum on whether they take the European bailout or not, whether these banks get a 50% haircut on the debt they're holding that is Greek debt, or the people of Greece say, no, we're going to default, and they take a 100% haircut on it. Now, this sent the markets into an utter tizzy last week, as we saw, and then within 48 hours, the plan was scrapped. The people of Greece lost their democracy. They no longer have the right to vote on their financial future. It will be dictated to them. But that wasn't far enough, because if you stand up to these central bankers, these banker-engineered plans, you will have consequences to face. And within 48 hours after that decision, we see Papandreou stepping down as prime minister. And who's waiting in the wings? Who's front-running this? In all the mainstream media, it doesn't matter if it's Reuters or AP, any of the corporate-owned mainstream media are putting out the same story, that Lucas Papademos is going to step in and be, he's the front runner to step in and be the new prime minister of Greece. Why is this name important? Lucas Papademos just sounds like another Greek name, right? Well, the fact of the matter is he used to be the deputy director of the European Central Bank. So he is a central banker to the core. So you have Papandreou, who after years of being led down this road into serfdom, literally having to give the assets of his country away in order to satisfy the bankers that took the risk in the first place on the Greek debt. When he decides he's going to put it to a referendum vote, he is not only scolded and forced to withdraw his bid for democracy inside of his country. Within a few days, he is no longer the prime minister, plain and simple, and we'll put a deputy head of the ECB in there to run the country. Of course, a central banker is going to want to step in and save the too big to fail European institutions. Now we have a situation, a real situation, that truly affects the planet, which is the sovereign debt issue inside of Italy. Today, the 10-year yield on Italian debt went to 6.6%. It's the highest it's been since the inception of the euro. Now, just to give you an idea, it's about 1.2% for that same 10-year yield in German debt. So the spread between the German and Italian debt is as wide as it's ever been, and the 10-year percentage rate on the Italian debt is as high as it's ever been. Now, I'll attach a story that'll explain exactly why this is happening. Yes, Italy has sovereign debt issues. A lot of them look like the same ones we have here in the United States, where we're north of 100% of GDP in national debt. But the real reason this jumped up this morning, even with all the good news of the EFSF fund being leveraged to the hilt to €1 trillion, even with the good feeling of the G20 group coming together saying, yeah, maybe the IMF would step in and help, the reason that Italy is being allowed to go through this record soaring interest rate is because they want Berlusconi out of there. They're not even playing economic hitmen anymore. They're not even playing this behind the scenes. They're going straight to the mainstream media and letting it well be known that until Berlusconi leaves, we will jack the rate on the European bond so high that the country will completely disintegrate. So now we have central bankers, not only since 2008, stealing untold trillions of dollars, at least creating fictitious trillions of dollars and enslaving the planet in debt. Now they're so brazen that they put right in the mainstream media, give us what we want or we will implode your economy. Why does that matter to the United States? You might be listening now and say, who cares? It's Greece and Italy and Portugal and Ireland. We're in the United States. What difference does it make to us? Financial Times already reported today that the European debt crisis is leading to a slowdown in lending in the United States by the U.S. banks. And if you think for 1 minute, these very few too big to fails that were left standing after 2008 are not exposed to this European debt, you better think again. You know, look what just happened to MF Global. They completely and totally went bankrupt. This news story is no longer in the mainstream media. Neither is the fact that John Corzine, former governor of New Jersey and Obama fundraiser, was at the head of that ship. We'll see if any justice comes to John Corzine. Will he be perp walked, or will he slapped on the wrist and given a massive fat golden parachute? Meanwhile, the people like Warren Pollock, who contribute to my radio program and to this channel, are stuck on the hook for thousands and thousands of dollars that they had inside of MF Global. So we see the connection between the too big to fail banks and what's going on in Europe. And if you think it's a coincidence that it was just a few weeks ago, I know that's ancient history in pop culture media when we're being inundated with Lindsay Lohan and Michael Jackson. But just a few weeks ago, it was Bank of America that transferred potentially trillions of dollars worth of exposure to European debt from a private wing of their corporation, their Goliath Corporation, to a division that is backed by the FDIC. Do you think that was just an accident? Did this too big to fail know what's coming down the pipeline? I think they do. And it's also why Morgan Stanley is also rumored to be ready to switch up to $75 trillion worth of exposure to the European debt nightmare to FDIC insured accounts. The game hasn't changed. You know what? In fact, it's gotten far, far worse. Back then, the bankers came before the cameras with a deer in the headlight look, saying, please save us. We are the economy. We are the ones that keep small business going in this country. We're the ones that create wealth in this country. Without us, small business cannot move forward and jobs cannot be created. They had the puppy dog look in their eyes when they went before Congress asking to be saved. Those days are long gone. They now run this economy. And if you think for 1 second anything's gotten better on Main Street, you better look at some recent statistics. In fact, a story came out today, I'll attach to this video, showing that the new poverty level is now 16% of the country is inside that poverty level. 46 million people are now on food stamps. We have people graduating from college, 80% of them having to move back home. Every statistic you want to look at on Main Street from 2008 till now, with trillions and trillions being spent in order to save these once deer in the headlight begging bankers, is worse than it was in 2008. So not only is the crime continuing, it is getting more egregious. And we're going to see it come to this country very, very soon. If you think that the people protesting the Occupy Wall Street movement are wrong because they're going after Wall Street, because you're a Tea Party member and you think they should be going after out-of-control government, understand this. There is no difference. Wall Street, government, total corruption, total collusion, and the interest of these too big to fail firms is the only thing on the minds of our so-called leaders. Stories are attached. That's all I got.